Warning: real, raw, and personal verbal content ahead.
Touch and agree with us in prayer anytime with the Prayers Up Club. Visit cbiztvmedia.com and click Prayers Up Club.
So I want to talk about crying wolf and really focusing on relationships because we talk about faith, love, and trends here. And the whole thing about crying wolf and how that can ruin a reputation, ruin a relationship, ruin the cycle of love that we see in our world and our expectations. So I've been in a lot of cry wolf relationships as a woman. And my definition is when the man is crying wolf, he's basically crying, I love you. I want to spend my life with you. I'm thinking about marrying you. I do want to marry you. All of these promises and all of these big deal things, especially in the mind and the heart of a woman, we want commitment, we want love, we want marriage. We're wired this way for the most part. And men are not wired that way. I feel like in a way they cry wolf because they know that you'll come running. Just like that whole fairy tale. And I don't know if it's a fairy tale or a nursery rhyme or whatever it comes from, but I know you guys remember the story of the boy that cried wolf. And in my memory, he was like a shepherd boy watching the sheep. And of course, back in those days, you would cry wolf because you don't want the wolves to eat up the sheep. And of course, you don't want them to mess with you either. So when you would cry wolf, someone will come to your rescue, come to your aid. So the boy did this a couple times as a joke. People was come and run and the wolf wasn't there, and it was just a joke for him. He was just having a little fun, pranking them, I guess. And then when the wolf was actually there, no one came and no one believed him. So I feel like that is a whole phenomenon, even in relationships and especially with women, because we can go through different relationships, and I've only had like a handful, I feel, of serious relationships and a few just misses here and there. It doesn't matter what your relationship numbers are. If you've been in a lot of relationships or just a few, there's this thing where the person can cry wolf. And just, I feel like it happens more with women than men, because I feel like men feel the need to cry wolf, like I said, so that they can kind of get what they want, so they can get you to come run, just like that little boy, that shepherd boy. So it puts an expectation in your mind. After so many cry wolves, you're like, the next person that says they really love me, like, will it be real? Like, it kind of messes with your head. Is it really true, or is this person just crying wolf, saying what I want to hear so they can get what they want out of the relationship or get what they want from me at the moment? And now I've been through some cry wolf scenarios, and I think I mentioned this with another celebrity, where people at the moment, I do feel like some of these guys really do think they're in love. They may be in love with the idea of love, and they say women are that way. I think that men are that way also, and they kind of try to force it on some level, and by them forcing it, then it's kind of like putting you in that position where you have to respond and you have to say I love you or I don't love you. To me, like, it's a forced, fast response. Instead of letting things play out and using patience, it's like, hey, let me force this issue and put her in this position where she'll have to choose, because I don't have the patience and I want what I want from her right now. So now that I've seen the pattern, okay, this is what I've seen in my past, and I'll attribute it to almost all men that I encounter, at least in a romantic way, that they are going to do this to me. I'm skeptical. And, sometimes, men say, especially, being a woman, you have a little more experience in life. And they're saying, You're too skeptical, you're too cynical, it's not fun. And that's why a lot of times they'll try to gravitate to younger women that don't get the game, because we finally kind of caught the game and they're not really too happy about that. Again, I do believe some aren't gaming, or their regular lifestyle is to fall in love every 5 minutes until they get bored and go to the next. That's not healthy. But in my scenario of being the person that has to be the victim of somebody crying wolf, and I come running and thinking, yes, you love me, this is the one God has for me, this is the relationship God has for me, I'm gonna get married. So I try to avoid that scenario because I don't want to jump the gun. I don't want to get too excited anymore. It's kind of like lackluster at this point, and I've just heard it too many times before in different variations, but too many times before. So I don't even know if it's real, when it's real. And to honestly, I don't even know if any of mine were real. Just because the fact that I feel like if it was real, it would have come to pass. If it was real, they would have fought for me. If it was real, things would have worked out. Because I do believe sometimes people can get confused and they're not sure. They want to take a break. And some have come back to me in different scenarios and tried to talk with me again, and it didn't work out. If it was really real, it would last. That's the only test that I have. The emotional thing, you can't really test it. I mean, you felt good in all these relationships. You had the butterflies in all these relationships, maybe in a little bit different ways, depending on what that person brought to you. It's kind of like you don't even really know anymore. So I just wanted to, and I was just thinking about the whole dangers of crying wolf in love and relationships, and generally, it messes up your reputation. You will be considered a serial dater. They have this new thing out, I think, called serial monogamous or something like that. Serial monogamy, to me, is similar as serial dater. You'll be in a long-term relationship. You'll date for someone for a long time and be in that relationship. And you just have to be in a relationship, is what I'm thinking that's what it means. You have to be in something. Even though it's more serious, it's still like something you have to be in, and it seems like you can't do without a partner. That's also not healthy. But going from person to person and just trying to get people to fulfill your needs and crying wolf all the time, either to get the person to do what you want or to fulfill some need of love that you have in yourself, it's not healthy. It's not good for you. It's not good for your partners. It's not good for now all of these women that you've left behind cynical. And then as she's getting older and men are saying it's not fun. But honestly, you guys are the one that kept crying wolf. You guys are the one that set up our minds and expectations for us to think in this way. You teach people how to treat you, basically. So I've been taught by men through different scenarios in my life when it comes to romance and relationships that they will cry wolf. It won't mean anything. It's not real. The wolf will never be there. Technically, the love will never be there. The commitment will never be there. The marriage will never be there. So it's a little sad to have that perspective, but I believe many of us women do. And I love to talk to some married women that have been able to figure out, or God has blessed them with their partner, and how they knew and what was the difference and all of that. I would love to see that and hear that scenario. But there are some women that have gone all the way. They got married and it still didn't work out. So technically, they still feel like they may have been played for a fool, and it was a cry wolf scenario, depending on how the relationship ended. Of course, if it was a mutual ending, you guys didn't know what you were getting into, things you didn't talk about or discover about yourselves, and you guys just figured, oh, we probably should have did more research and took more time and departed that way, that's fine. But if it was something where that person was deceptive to you the whole time, they changed their ways after you guys got married, or you saw things that you didn't see before. Sometimes we choose not to see, but people can change up on you. When they get comfortable in a relationship, you can definitely change up again. We have our first date manner and mannerisms that last a little while in a relationship, where we try to put on the perfect face, the best outfit, the best cologne. We have tried to look like we have everything covered up front, all those things that we do. And then once we get comfortable, especially if you're in a marriage, some people feel like, I'm real comfortable, this person's never going to leave me. Now I can totally let my hair down, and this is what it's going to look like. So I do want to encourage and show love to you ladies. I don't have the answer. I'm in your position. If you are single or if you've been divorced as well and things didn't work out, I'm in the position where I don't have the answer. But I want the younger women to see, and I want women in my age group to see, okay, don't be discouraged. You're not alone. It's kind of what has been expected. And I also want the men to see that this is the setup that you guys have designed. I don't think you guys have come together as the male population and said, I'll come up with this scheme to cry wolf on all these women for my lifetime. I don't think that, but I'm just saying your male population has contributed to our ideals and our mindset. And if you really want a good woman and a good relationship, you're going to have to try to break through that. Or you could try to get a young woman that has little to no experience and may take whatever comes. And that may be the easy way out for you. But I feel like if you target that type of person, then there's something wrong with you that you're trying to hide. You shouldn't target a certain age group or somebody with a certain level of experience, because if you do, again, that looks bad on you. You fall in love who you fall in love with. If you fall in love with a younger woman, that's fine. If it was natural and organic, that's a beautiful thing. If you fall in love with a woman in your age range, still beautiful, as long as it's natural, organic, there was not a targeted thing. I do feel sometimes we have types and we can target physical types, but I don't think we always realize sometimes we target personality types and vulnerability types. If you see someone's vulnerable, you will target them. If you see somebody strong, that's the one that you'll target. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you try to go after people's weaknesses, that's a problem with you. And when it comes to looks, you have your preferences. I'm not even against, like, if you target certain looks. But if that person doesn't have a good personality and you continue to just go for people with looks, but they have nothing else to offer you, or they're not compatible with you in any other way, but they only have to look this way and be eye candy for you, then that's a problem that you have. If you have to have a trophy, then that's a problem that you might have. But yeah, because when you look at people that have trophies, it's something inside of them where they feel less than, so they have to have something next to them so that they can feel beautiful. To me, I think that's an issue for them. But yeah, we talked a little bit about the gamut of all different types of relationships and just crying wolf and what that does to a relationship, to a woman, to her heart and mind, her future expectations, and relating to those women who have gone through it. Informing those younger women that may not understand it at this point, and also informing men that really want a good relationship, as well as just men in general, that this is kind of the cause and effect situation that we've been in because of different men in our life. You may not have been that man, but you are a part of the male population, so we kind of attribute you to doing similar things. You're put in a similar circumstance, you think the same or similar things are going to happen. Same thing with you men. You also believe that I've heard them say, don't trust a big backside and a smile. So then all men think that certain type of looking woman is going to play you and trick you, and take you for all you have. So we have some of these stereotypes about each other and our expectations of what we think somebody's going to be in a relationship and how somebody's going to treat us. And crying wolf is definitely one of those. Crying wolf is definitely a toxic thing that we have to learn how to figure out not to do. And then as women, we need to realize, okay, where was this man coming from? What was his issue? And we're not going to attribute that to all the men that we meet in that scenario. And also, again, for the men that want a good woman and they're going to have to go through challenges. I'm sorry, gentlemen. I mean, women are a challenge, and especially a good woman that you really want. If you think you're going to take easy street, then you are going to get the easy woman. And I'm not really just talking about sexually, but in other ways. She may not have the intellectual abilities that you're looking for if you're looking for easy. She may not have the discipline, she may not have the commitment, she may not have the care. Same thing with the men. If a woman just wants an easy time with the guy, she'll pick any guy that looks at her, and she's gonna go through the same consequence of having to deal with someone that doesn't have the intellect that you're used to, doesn't have the care and the commitment or the character that you're used to. So we are a challenge, and hopefully you get used to that. Hopefully you're up for the challenge as a man. That's a part of being a man, is facing challenges and overcoming. It's not really all about the catch of the woman, but can you keep her? The challenge of, can you maintain that relationship? The challenge of getting her can be pretty easy because, I'm sorry, for the love languages, I'm a words of affirmation girl. If you say certain things, I believe you. If you say them in a certain way, if you got a certain swag, I like that. I get into it. I do need to see some actions within this, but in the beginning, if you just tell me some good stuff, I'm in. So, okay, guys, you beat that challenge. It's not really that hard to get someone's interest. It's hard to keep it. Some people use money and looks and finance and nice car to get people's attention, but that also won't keep them there as well. May keep them a little bit longer than anticipated, but from what I hear, even those relationships fail because if it's all financial and money based, that person has no real connection with you. They may be off cheating with someone else and still getting your money at the same time. So, when we use gimmicks and stuff, that doesn't really work. When we cry wolf, that really messes up people's heads. And your reputation is shot as a man if that's what you continue to do. And as a woman, because women can do this as well. But your reputation is shot if you're always in love with the next man. Everybody thinks you're going to get married to him, and the engagement's called off 4 or 5 times. You've been married 4 or 5 times and divorced 4 or 5 times. It looks like you're crying wolf a bit, male or female. So just think about those scenarios and let's look at the patterns. Let's look at the patterns of our relationships and the patterns of people that are in our lives. Don't want to judge everyone, but that's what we do. Context thinking, critical thinking. This is how we figure out, am I going to make that move again? I'm going to make that mistake again. So if you're that type of person that cries wolf, just beware. At some point, your reputation will be just that. And nobody's going to really want to mess with you or check on you or check you at all if you have that type of personality, that type of behavior. Have you been through the cry wolf scenario, ladies? Have you been through the cry wolf scenario, men? Email me, let me know. Email me at cbiztv@yahoo.com. That's cbiztv@yahoo.com. All the best. God bless. Check us out here, CBiz TV Media, where we talk faith, love, and trends.